everyone, and welcome to Let's Heal with Beth Jones. That's me, your host. My mission is to bring the power of healing to trauma and abuse survivors. That's why every guest on this show will bring you an amazing story of healing in action. So come on, everyone, let's heal. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Let's Heal with Beth Jones. Of course, that's me, your host, and I'm so excited for today's conversation. As you can see, I am recording from a new location. This is the studio in my new home, so you'll see me recording from here every opportunity that I can. And I'm really delighted that my first recording today is with my good friend, Cami Foerster. Hi, Cami.
Hi, Beth. I'm so happy to be here.
This is going to be a fun one.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun conversation. You see here a stack of books that are Cami's newest book that just came out in May. And you're going to hear us talking today all about what is an exact life path that we've both had, manifested in very different ways.
Yeah.
But our life path, our reason for being here is exactly the same. All right.
Absolutely.
We're going to have some fun with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, we are. All right. So let's get started. Please tell the audience anything you would like to tell them about yourself.
Oh my goodness. I am a wanderlust. I love
Same.
to travel. Absolutely.
Same.
I feel like I'm following in your footsteps. You did all the travel that I'm in earlier life. I'm doing now.
So I need like a motion that I can do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I should just raise my hand. When it's the same, I'll just raise my hand.
Yep, me too.
All right, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. So I'm a wanderlust. I love learning.
Mm.
I absolutely love learning.
Yeah.
I'm always learning something new. Actually, my current challenge is I'm learning Arabic since I'm living in the Middle East right now.
Good
I
for
know.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My favorite way to rest is to go take my truck into the mountains and find a dirt road, crank up the music,
Yes.
and just smell the pine trees and air and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And really and truly, my family and my community means the world to me. They're the reason why I do everything.
Yeah.
They truly are.
Yeah.
So I think that's a beginning shot for you.
There we go.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So we got that Colorado thing.
Oh, we do have the Colorado thing.
That's also the same.
Yes.
So a little bit of that in my life. Not as long as you, but a little bit of time in Colorado. It is a beautiful state. It really is.
It really is.
This time of year.
Especially this time of year, not so hot as the Middle East or Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
And my favorite is fall.
Yeah,
oh,
it is
fall
beautiful.
There is just gorgeous.
Lovely. Yes.
It's gorgeous. So it's a privilege to call that place home for the past 10 years for sure.
What part of Colorado are you in?
I'm on what's called the Front Range.
Okay.
So between Denver and Colorado Springs. That's where my home currently is.
Yeah. Okay. So we were a little bit in the Front Range. So actually it was like 35 miles driving from downtown Denver to where our place was in Conifer. It's like 20 miles as the crow flies or something, but technically. So that's the exact same area.
Yeah, pretty much.
It starts snowing way too early.
I know. September sometimes.
Yeah, I could.
It's right around the corner.
I could lament my time in Colorado.
Although I spent 20 years in New England, and so the snow in Colorado is actually lovely compared to some other areas of the country.
Yeah, you're well acclimated for the Colorado weather,
I am.
sure. Yeah, that's amazing. And you're here on home leave now.
I am. I'm on home leave. So currently, I've been spending time in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, for the past 3 years. Followed my husband out there for work and have learned how to build a community and a life out there. Actually, that's been my path. We've talked about over the last 3 years. And wow, it has really, I've learned so much from the people and the environment and the customs, and then being able to travel from there as well.
It's amazing.
When you enter another culture, you get a whole different depth of understanding of humanity.
Yes, you do.
And yourself.
Yes, you do.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I think every human being should have an opportunity to live in another country.
Yeah.
To experience a different culture, not just visiting, because
No.
it's not the same, but actually immerse yourself for a period of time with that culture. It's an amazing experience.
It's an absolutely different experience to live there.
Yeah.
And it really has informed my own travel, because now when I travel, I'm not looking for, sometimes it's fun to go see the big things in an area, but we're looking for the little things. Like I remember we just got to go to Italy with my folks just recently.
Yeah.
And one of the stops, everybody was able to go to see the Tower of Pisa. But we stayed in the local area and explored like the little gelato shops and the walkways along the mountains. And it was just, I love it. I love seeing what regular everyday life is like wherever I go.
Me too.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's when you realize that the world is both really tiny in terms of our humanity and how people live their lives. Yeah. But you also recognize how big the world is.
Yeah.
You get the full gamut of the size of,
you really do.
Of the world.
And I think that's been something that I've really appreciated, is the fact that as human beings, we really are all looking for a similar thing. We want work that is meaningful and sustains us. We want a community, a family, or a group of friends around us that care about us, so where we are seen and we can witness them as well. Yeah. And we really just want to, how do I want to say it? We all have the same goals. Like I had a conversation with one of my good friends who's become a good friend of my husband and I over the past 3 years. And he recently had a birthday, and I asked him what he wanted for his birthday. And he had to stop and really think about it. And he came back to me like an hour later and he says, I want more peace in my life.
Don't we all?
Right. That's the thing. That's the commonality. That's
universal.
The commonality.
I think that's exactly right.
We want more peace. We want more love. We want more joy. We want safety and security. It's pretty basic.
Pretty basic.
It really is.
Yes.
No matter where you live, what the climate is, what the culture is, what the language is.
Yeah. Pretty basic.
It's pretty amazing.
We're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
What you learn. So yeah. I've been blessed to have spent a lot of my life living and working out of my home country, the U.S. That is one of the greatest blessings of my life, and so influential on the person who I am, especially growing up as a kid that way.
Oh, sure.
So I'm one of the things in my life I am eternally grateful for.
Yeah.
I'm really blessed to have had all the experiences I've had. But I'm like you. I'm done with all the touristy stuff. I want to see how the locals live. Yeah. That's what I'm into.
We have a friend, when we moved out there, he taught us to say, okay, so when you're ready to eat something, don't ask the guy at the hotel.
Yeah.
Ask your taxi driver.
Yes. Where is he going for dinner?
Where do you eat?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Exactly.
100%. Because that's where you really get to know the authenticity of the food.
Absolutely.
Which is, not made for tourists, but the real stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Now, you and I have known each other for 2 or 3 years now. I don't know exactly how long, and we'll come on, I'm sure, through our conversation to how we first met each other. But through that, we're working with coaches and in programs to help us really turn what we've been through in our life into our purpose, how we serve other people, really. And that's leveraging our stories. And so that's the circles that we run in, and how people train us, and all the coaching we're getting and all that. So I've had an opportunity through that to learn a little bit about your story and see what you're doing. You've learned a little bit about mine and seeing what I'm doing. But when I was getting ready for this conversation, of course, because the book has just come out and we want to talk about this, right? And by the way, here is the book. It's titled The Sila Journey, and it is an absolutely beautiful book. The cover and the content inside is just amazing. Really beautiful. So get your copy today. You don't want to miss it. Promise you don't want to miss it. And we're going to talk more about what's in here. But one of the things that really struck me when I was preparing last week while I was on the beach in Cabo vacation,
gorgeous photos, by the way.
They were beautiful, right? Yeah, the sky was just brilliant blue, so it made them all amazing. Yeah. But when I was going through this, I was reading, of course, start in the beginning where you do, and I started writing the word me and same all over the first few pages. Now,
there's the same.
But I was like, same, right? And it struck me, that even what I know about you and what you know about me, what really struck me when I was going through that is literally the life path that God gave to both of us is literally identical.
Yeah.
But the way it manifested is so different. And that's what we're
Absolutely.
gonna walk through.
Oh,
So
that'll
I
be
have
fun.
some notes in here,
Sure.
but I may share what I noted in here
please.
from time to time, so people just be able to see the beautiful pictures. I'm trying to let me find my favorite page here. With
I just have to say, this makes me so happy to see this and see the way she takes notes. There are so many colors going on a page.
That's what she's talking about,
Like,
right here, right? This is my favorite page, by the way.
The way she takes notes is just as colorful as who you are and the house you have.
Right?
I love it. I love it.
Yes, definitely full of color in my life. Gotta have it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
All right. We typically focus on the healing journey.
Yes.
On this show, and we will.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm all about healing.
Yeah.
But I always tell my guests, you don't heal without a reason to heal. And so there's a period of backing up. There is an additional part that I want to ask you that I don't normally ask, but I think is important about what happens to people when they do heal. And I do talk about this. We're going to come on to it in just a second. So let's go back for you about the past life, because there is the dividing line for you, the rock bottom. We were talking about it earlier and saying the moment we go bye to that person that we were. Yeah. And so there is that moment, and we're going to come on to that. But your life is radically different today than it was before that dividing moment, as is mine. Yes. Both personally and professionally. Yep. As is mine. So go back and give us a little bit of what your life looked like before your moment.
Okay. I think just some of the environment growing up and that I matured in firstborn. Some of the things I've been taught as a kid lent me towards perfectionistic type tendencies. Overachiever. I started having depression actually when I was about 14 or 15, but again, in the time that we grew up, that was not something that was usually discussed because it was still really shameful. And so I'm really thankful to be in a place where I was actually able to learn more about that in my young adult years. And I was able, now that I have kids, able to talk about that openly and really change that scenario. But so depression has been, and then later on, as I was in my 40s, anxiety crept in there too. So things with some mental health challenges for sure. But really, okay, so I was the person, you can look back at every job. There's two things I see in common. I'm always looking back to help out the people that are coming behind me.
Okay.
And I was always the person who took on too much and somehow got it all done.
By the way, that's what I call the busyholic and chronic chaos.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I need to borrow. You have the best terminology for all of these things. I'm like, I need to borrow all of it.
Only because I've lived it, which isn't great.
Exactly. But yeah, like we've mentioned before, I'm just maybe a year behind you in how everything is unfolding.
Yeah.
But yeah, and people being so important to me, they were the reason why I did everything, even to my downfall. That was part of what led up, because I do love deeply. I am an empath. Me feeling other people's emotions and experiences as if they're my own. Sometimes I got confused in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was always doing things for other people. And part of that was a need to be needed and a need to be liked.
Yeah.
And that truth of who I am. So if you go back to some of the other things and ways we get to know each other, I've more recently learned about the Enneagram. And when I've done that, I am the helper. Hello.
Imagine that.
I am the helper. My high school friends could have told you that because I was voted most helpful in high school.
Of course you were. Of course.
Right. Yeah, but we just didn't have that. So that's a little bit, if you were to look at me, you would have been able to say, give it to Cami, she'll get it done.
And you would.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. Because it was really important for me to not let you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I would have been more devastated at letting somebody else down than I was at letting myself down.
Yeah. So I have a couple questions about this. Follow-up questions. So what was your job professionally before?
So
like title, roles?
I did a lot of retail, good with people. And then right around when my kids were being born, I was a resident director. So I was living on campus at a Christian college. And my role was basically, I like to say, everything that happened outside of the classroom. Okay. So I was responsible for leading a staff of students and handling everything in that hall. I had about 135 students that So we were basically living with every year. And I have some great, rich relationships, but a lot of mentoring, a lot of teaching, a lot of discipline, a lot of being present, and helping to basically coach young adults through this transitional stage of leaving home and starting to strike out on their own, and all the processes in between. Yeah. Emergency management. My building was, especially and so athletic. I was in the hospital at least once a week with a student. Lots of time in ERs and that kind of stuff. But again, that general caregiving, that whole person kind of focus. When I left there in 2014, we moved, focused on my family for a little bit, but then I was able to go back to school, got my master's in theology and leadership, because I really love discussions that matter. And one of those things when I said I was looking back and always bringing up the people who are just the step behind me. There was a lot of leadership development in that process. It even started when I was in elementary school. My school, small community, ran out of the math curriculum a year before I finished school there. So they sent me back to the kindergarten classes to help teach letters to kindergartners. So it started even way back when I was about 11. Long time. And so that was what I was doing. I looked at working in a church and stuff, but there were other crisis and trauma moments that happened that prevented me from really getting into any long-term work until my ground zero. Ground zero.
So don't get to ground zero yet. We're still getting there. We're still building to ground zero. So give us a sense of the mounting pressure on you, because there is a break point. There's like a literal point in time when everything changed. Up until then, a sense of how you were feeling in terms of the giving and the giving, I assume giving to everybody except Cami, and how that was just the pressure, the mounting pressure on you.
So number one, mental health struggles were a big part of me leading up to that. So when you are for me, when I was in depression, there was a constant underlying struggle of my worth and value. Which then you have to prove that to yourself, and you do that by proving that to others. There's this need to basically validate my existence because my mind was not cooperating with me and helping me to understand my value. Then we had, we had a moving my kids when they were in middle school and high school. And that obviously brought some things up. And then I decided to throw grad school in there because why not? Again, doing too many things and getting it all done. Relearning how to write a paper 30 years after, 20 years after college. And then my hometown is Paradise, California. And so in 2018, that was destroyed in a fire. Now, we weren't living there, but my parents were there. My brother was there. And again, hi, helper. My sister and I, who were both living out of state, immediately jumped in to help provide support. But one of the things I think that was hard to recognize in those beginning days too is that I went home to my hometown every year. So there was a huge sense, I describe it as my anchor of where I came from in this world also got completely obliterated in the process. But I was so busy caring about other people, I didn't address that. From there, 8 months later, my father passed because of the trauma that he had endured through the campfire. And then COVID. And during COVID, my husband started traveling long distance for work. So then we have this, he's gone for a couple months and then he's back. And so we have this, him leaving and re-entry and kids at home and then not at home. And it was really chaotic. And there was a lot of needs that everybody else had. And then stop.
Not giving it all to yourself. So were you feeling like heavy, weighty, tired?
I was exhausted.
At the end, exhausted.
I was exhausted and I was in pain. Because the chronic stress had created systemic inflammation issues in my body. And it was also keeping me in a pattern of weight gain. And I've been quite obese for a big portion of my life. And that just, it's a lot of wear and tear on your body. I was exhausted. I think those years leading up 2, ground zero, I was probably starting to average 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night.
Okay.
My body, again, the stress, my body physically lost off switch.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't sleep.
What a great way to say that.
I went after I went to a doctor to figure out what happened, because I couldn't even figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Right? So you're just always on high alert, and my worth wasn't it had nothing to do with who I was. It was what I was accomplishing for everybody else.
By others.
And so I was constantly needing to validate myself, and constantly doing.
Yeah.
There was a to-do list that never ended. It just got longer and longer.
Yes.
And so it was like I would wake up in the morning exhausted, and then I would say, okay, what do I have to do today?
Yeah.
And I would just work until I couldn't.
Yeah.
And then I would lie in bed awake because my body wouldn't turn off until somehow I'd get this fitful little amount of sleep, and then I'd wake up and do it all over again. And my life was literally reduced. In my mind, it was reduced to a to-do list. And it was
100%.
so overwhelming. And one of the things I'm still doing is my heart had gotten completely shielded. And so it was really hard for me to feel things.
Yep. That's what my wall was.
Right? Yeah.
Just protected me.
Right.
Yeah. I couldn't.
If you even fast forward to today, like even as I've been traveling around on the book tour, I have had moments where I'm just in my car going, okay, Lord, like I can still feel the wall there. I need it to come down. I want it to come down. So how do we keep doing this? And these are conversations I'm having with Spirit while I'm driving around the country right now. I'm still working on, just because we've gone through a process and I have a bit of the story to share does not mean my healing is in any way near complete yet. We're still working through a lot of the things that had built up over that time.
Yeah. I tell people, when you go through the healing journey, you heal the hard stuff, the really big stuff from the past. You heal that the first time. But because we are humans having a human experience where we're interacting with other people all of the time, we can experience triggers or we can experience new hurts. And that healing is always continuing. I think I'll be healing for my entire lifetime. And if you don't think you're going to heal for your entire lifetime, you're not a human. That's all I can tell you. Humans will heal for their entire lifetime. And that's just a fact of us being social creatures and that need to be with other people. But that introduces all kinds of dynamics that can cause us to be in that place.
It really does. And no matter where we are in life, there are circumstances and actions that are going to happen that are beyond our control. And those can be damaging and harmful to us.
100%. Yep.
And then we never know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And so along our healing journeys, we're continually learning even about ourselves and those things that come to light. They need to be integrated and seen for what they are and find their space, because there's always that opportunity for us to understand and learn something about ourselves that we didn't know before.
Yeah, that's right. That's so true. So true. I also think with the feelings, when you're, for me, and I think what you're describing is similar for you. And I at least know that by 5 years old, I was already moving into a protective, emotionless state, which just kept going. And I've had to work really hard to identify and feel, actually let emotion come out of me, because I just repressed it. There were occasional times when something would happen and I would have an eruption of anger, but it was never healthy processing of all the other emotions. And it sounds like it was the same.
Similar.
For you.
I would say for me, the other thing I recognize is I can say I always have been a person who has wanted to lead from the heart. Yeah. In my book, one of the frameworks I talk about is our head, our hands, and our heart, what we know, what we experience, and then what we do. Yeah. And I'm wired as a person that leads from my heart. But growing up, there are so many different voices and people in authority and people who love me dearly who lead from the head. And so I was taught from an early age and continuing on, my emotions didn't matter. Yeah. What I did and what I thought did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
with
exactly.
depression, go in a different room, and when
Yeah.
you can get yourself together, come out, and then you can interact with us.
Yeah.
And so there was this constant pressure to push that part down. And then there's even the teasing, like the
Yes.
Cami, she just cries at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
And there was just this subtle undercurrent of that's weak, that's irrational.
Yeah.
And so there was constant messages for probably the first 2 to 3 decades of my life that were communicating.
Yeah. Just
if
dismissing.
you lead from the heart,
Yeah.
you're an idiot. Basically, we can put all kinds of nice language around it, but that's stupid because you're not using your head.
Yes.
And just really discounting the wisdom and the strength that's there.
And you shut the emotion out.
Yeah, so you just shut it down. You just shut it down, you push it down, you shut it down.
Too. Just for whatever reason, just repress it, shut it out.
It's for others.
But
it was for others.
For others. Yeah. Yeah, except Cami. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When we do that, give to others insatiably, chase validation, don't give to ourselves, and stuff our emotions. There is that moment for some of us when it literally is a do or die.
Yeah.
And you call it ground zero. I call it my rock bottom.
Yeah.
And I like to explore this with my guests who have experienced it because not everyone who goes on a healing journey has as profound and immediate of a transition that they can point to that I have and that you have.
I have, yeah, for sure.
And so I like to talk about those because rock bottom, ground zero comes in all shades. And I like to give people an idea of what that looks like in people's lives. So let's go. Let's talk about what happened.
My ground zero, I will say, I'll say it's like an earthquake. You might see a couple little tremors ahead of time, but we didn't know what that meant. So I
would say yeah.
Okay. So I would say the little tremors that preceded the ground zero, I had he was my chiropractor. He was kind of my holistic health guy. And he had known me for about 8 or 9 years. And I remember going in and saying, this is what I'm experiencing right now. And he just looked at me point blank and said, Cami, I have never seen you this stressed. If you don't do something, I don't remember his exact words, but it was basically like,
it's like you're warning late.
You need to do something. Yeah, there was like, that big bright, stop your car now, get it to the mechanic before it just quits on you. Yeah, that was that. Now, mind you, he had seen me through the fire. He had seen me through the struggles that we had in transitioning to Colorado. He had seen me through the death of my father. He had seen me through the COVID stuff. And that was still his comment. And I thought, literally in my head, I thought, oh shit.
Yeah. This is serious.
This is serious.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did, I reverted back to a practice that I'd practiced on and on because I knew I was lousy at self-care for my whole life. I knew it was important. So I tried to do things every now and again, which was give myself a day off once a week. And so I would go in the mountains with my truck, find dirt roads, roll down the windows. It was freedom.
Yeah. Freedom.
It was freedom just for those moments. And so I had done that one weekend. And then the next weekend, I was returning from that space.
Yeah.
And that's my turning point. I had the biggest panic attack I have ever had in my history while I was driving in the middle of nowhere, Colorado.
Yes.
Pull over. You have to write it out. There's no one in my car. There's no one around. There's no one to help me. Write it out. Get to a rest stop. Splash some water in your face and that kind of stuff. But then I still had 2 hours to get home.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit of time to think and pray and have some conversations with yourself and God. And I was just,
So do you think the panic attack was like your body knowing or feeling I'm leaving that place of freedom and peace and going back to what is causing me the exact opposite?
That was the question I was asking on that ride home. I was like, where did this come from? What was the trigger? Because I was still out in the car driving around. In my head, I should have been happy at the moment.
Right.
Not. The trigger was I was returning home.
Yeah.
And that moment of dawning that everything that was weighing on me, the stress, the obligations, the things that should have given me life and support and hope and comfort. Somehow, this life that I had created and I had allowed, none of that existed where I lived.
Yeah.
I could only find it away. So when I was going away in the mountains, I was experiencing that freedom. But when I started to turn back home, it all started descending. It's in a much more exaggerated sense. It's like when you go away on a vacation and you're carefree, and then on that plane ride or drive home, you feel the weight of life fall back on you. It was like that, but more of a, this is where you can thrive and this is where you can die.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was more of a life and death.
Yes. Yeah.
Than a, I'm returning from vacation.
Right. Yeah.
And in that moment, by the time before I got home, I said, I knew something has to change. If I continue this, it will kill me.
Yeah.
So something needs to change, and it needs to change right now.
And what was the change?
I didn't know.
But there was something.
It takes a moment.
But there was something pretty profound that you did.
Yeah. So my husband's working in Abu Dhabi at the moment. I message him. Yes. Okay. So I message him. I'm like, something's. I gave him a little heads up, and I'm like, I'll let you know what I figure out.
Yeah.
By the time I get home, I'm like, I have to go. So it was interesting because I'm going home, and that's where all my stress is. But everything in my body was screaming, go home. I'm like, it's not here because this was the trigger. So what I ended up doing is I canceled every appointment on my calendar for 5 weeks. That's desperation. Even now, that gives me like anxiety. But I canceled everything on my calendar. I let my mom and just a couple other people know that I needed to go away to figure out what was going on. I packed camping gear in the back of my truck. Have I ever solo camped? No. Now, I can car camp for a night. Yeah, but no, I'm not a camper. Other in the romantic kind of way when you're a kid, right?
Yeah.
And so I packed camping gear and I went home to the property that my parents were living on when the campfire destroyed their world.
Yeah.
And so I got there. It's a 1,200-mile drive, 2 days. And I got there and I started camping.
For all 5 weeks.
Okay, summertime, California. And there was, I don't know that I talked about this in the book, there was a fire that broke out in the same place that the campfire started while I was camping on the property.
Oh.
So that added another dynamic, forcing me to acknowledge some of the trauma that I had already lived through. And I could see the glow of that fire. It was spreading a different way, but I could see the glow of that fire from my campsite. That was the Dixie fire.
Okay.
And when the smoke or the heat became too much, I had friends that had homes in the area, so they would extend a couch or a guest room.
Yeah.
But I did try to be up there as much as I could because I really needed that place where I needed me.
Yeah.
I needed to hear me. I didn't need to hear and feel obligated or responsible for somebody else at that time.
Yeah.
But no, I had a really good community around me.
Yeah.
What I now call my Sela tribe, to make sure that I was safe and healthy as my world was falling apart.
Just for clarification, your kids were how old when this was happening?
My kids were 19 and 22.
Okay. So well capable of taking care of themselves.
I did not leave little babies at home.
Yeah.
They each had access to a credit card, and they could call dad.
Yeah.
And they could call grandma.
Yeah, we're all good. Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine, except Cami.
Except me.
Yeah.
I was finally being able to say, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I'm really not okay. And no matter what you need from me or expect from me at this point, that is secondary because I am not okay.
Yeah, you just couldn't give it. Done. The tank is empty.
It's ground zero. It's not just empty. It's sprung a leak and I need a replacement. There's no going back. There's no fixing it.
Yeah.
The other way I talk about it, I broke.
Yes.
I broke completely.
Yeah.
I just broke completely.
Yeah, that's the way it was. That moment for me was a life and death moment, and I died. I mean, when I was in that hypnotherapy room, the person who walked in never walked out again. That person that walked in died, and I walked out. This person that I've worked 5 years now to uncover and find.
Right.
But it was a death experience for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a great way to describe it, because I knew once I determined I could not stay the same, there was no turning back.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was no turning back. I think I was even reflecting on it with April today, and I said, it would have been better for me to leave everything behind and start over from scratch at that moment. That seemed, if that was all I could do, that was better than going back to what I had been living in.
Yeah.
If I had to leave everything, if I had to come out with absolutely no money, no job, I think I probably would have fought for my truck. I do love my truck.
Which, by the way, is the truck that you're traveling around in now. So you do love that truck.
It's parked right outside. I do love that truck.
It's a Black Beauty.
Her name is Hattie Kate.
Okay.
She is Hattie Kate.
Yeah, because you've been through it together.
We have.
Yeah.
We have. She's been one of my best travel companions for all of my cross-country trips. Yeah. It's been amazing.
So tell me what happened while you were at home.
At home.
Those few weeks.
Property.
Yeah, what happened?
The first few days was really just feeling all of the fear that had built up in me for decades. Like all the fear of letting people down, all of the fear of what if I'm a failure, all of the fear of what if I can't do this, all of those fears that I pushed aside in order to just keep going, they came up. Now they manifested in the fact that I was also sleeping on a tent in 10 acres in the woods. And so some of it looked like the fear that a bear is going to come, even though I kept all of my food locked in my truck away from my tent. That actually funny moment, I left. I didn't realize my husband, where the tent poles were just next to the tent, but I didn't know they weren't in the same bag. So I grabbed the tent bag, but not the tent poles. So I had a friend had to come and bring me a tent that night. And mercifully, kindly, he brought me a cot, which I did not have. So I didn't have to sleep on the ground.
Lovely. Very kind.
But there was this fear like that a wild animal was going to come and drag me out of my tent, which just shows, I know that's not rational, but it was all of the fear that had been pent up and built up inside was coming out. And then, so that was probably like the first 4 days until my friend was like, Cami, it hits the news because it never happens. So just go to sleep. Okay. I hear you loud and clear. But then after that, really, it was almost like this period of self-loathing. Like, how could you let this happen to you? Oh my God. Like there was this aspect of me that wanted to punish me for allowing my life to get to that point.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a picture. It's not one that I've shared, but I have a picture of me and my face is beet red. I'm Irish. If I think about exercise, my face turns beet red. But this picture, there was something that set me off, and I was so frustrated and angry with myself that in the middle of summer, I took myself like on a 3-mile jog, and was like it was a self-punishing type of an act. Yeah. So there was that phase as well. But then again, after that came, I'm still still praying and conversing with God, and still allowing just a handful of people that I trusted that had known me for almost my whole life to speak. And so there was also this whisper of God who was reminding me of a word, Selah or Selah, and saying, remember this? Remember when I introduced this? Why don't we revisit that idea? Yeah. So there was a lot of emotional stuff that was like bleh, coming all out. But then there was this little kind of, hey, I want to remind you of something. Yeah. Let's think about this. And so eventually it would transition into these places of, okay, I am important enough to be taken care of. So let's start working on rest. What does rest look like? I haven't given myself rest in a long time. Yeah. And asking questions with curiosity instead of judgment. Yeah. What's true? Yeah. What do you believe? Is that really true? Or did the development of that truth get stuck somewhere along the way? Yeah. And then I had another one of my other good friends who lent me a guest room. I call it my room now at her house, who gave me a gratitude journal and said, I know things are hard, but if you can try finding one thing a day.
Yes.
That you can see is a gift that you never asked for, or just something good. And so those were the first little baby steps, because those things, rest, reflection, gratitude, those are all ideas held within the word of Sila.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was, this really emotional kind of upheaval, and then it trickled into these spaces of, okay, let's figure some things out. Let's learn to be kind to you, and let's start exploring what is really true.
Yeah.
And what you have believed, and let's see if those things are matching up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that finding your way back to rest, was that difficult at first?
Yeah.
Fighting with yourself to get there?
That was probably one of the hardest things, because once I realized how terrible, so it's my sleep schedule, but it was also like, again, my life had been a list of to-do items.
Yeah.
And so there was never any, hey, just sit down for a second and have a glass of water.
Yeah. I know that feeling. Exactly. Right. No time to even drink water.
There's no time. I have to get this done. I have to accomplish. And so it's not just the physical rest, which was really messed up. And actually, that was just that. Those 5 weeks were just the first part. When I went back after that, I got a sleep doctor. I started working with my general practitioner, and I got a sleep doctor to really find out why my body couldn't rest.
Yeah.
But there was also the mental rest.
Yeah.
Now I will look at y'all and say, let's practice a little boredom. And you're going to be like, please no.
Boredom is a great thing.
Boredom is the space where curiosity and wonder and ideas and inspiration lives.
Yeah. To let your mind go.
It does.
Amazing ways.
But that had been completely squeezed out. So the mental rest, the spiritual rest.
Yeah.
We talk about who we are aligned with spiritually and what that looks like. But there's aspects of that we don't earn. We just have to rest in it and know it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just a physical rest. And that really probably took me, the physical rest side of it probably took me a good 12 to 18 months to really get sorted.
Yeah.
So that was just the first, it was the realization and the first steps of a very long journey of putting a lot of little things, like learning about sleep hygiene and learning what my body needed and finding out where it needed. There was a lot of little things that went into that.
Yes.
But also emotional rest.
Yeah.
Spiritual. There's so many different aspects of that.
Yeah.
So it was the beginning of a much longer process.
Yeah.
And in some ways it's still happening. Like even
still healing.
I'm still healing. Like even on this road trip, I put some boundaries in place so that I won't do that. I've started recognizing when that drive to push comes up. I'm like, time to pull over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time to go grab a coffee. Like, not a coffee. I don't need caffeine after one. But time to grab a lemonade or
go drink some water.
Sit down. Yeah, drink some water. Please go drink some water.
Yeah.
Go find a little shady spot under a tree and just sit and listen to the birds.
Yeah, just chill.
Yeah.
Nature.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So same question about finding your way back to gratitude. Was that hard?
Yeah. The journal that my friend gave me was really great. And now, disclaimer, I am terrible. I'm a great starter, but usually I start something and it's great, and then I move on to something else before the first one is done. Still working on that. But this journal, I love the idea of it because it was a write down one thing a day, but it had 5 lines. And so you wrote in the year and your one thing on that day, and you kept going, and then you could restart it the next year.
Brilliant.
And you could do that for 5 years so that you could continue to see how your gratitude
on that same day
for 5 years.
That's so cool.
I know. I'm really bummed with myself that I couldn't finish it, because it would be amazing now 4 years later to have it. I've practiced it in other ways, and that's the beautiful thing.
Right? I wish I had that to go back and look at.
I know. I'm the worst journaler for an author. Our friends keep telling me, write it down. I'm like, no. I should. Yeah. I'm more likely to leave myself a voice memo.
I do that too. And Post-it notes.
I know. Oh my gosh. I have a box of Post-it notes I still go through. Same. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the gratitude part.
The gratitude. It was. But okay, and then there was this moment. But I was also learning at that point how to meditate and just connect with I'd always been someone who chased God and had that connection, but it was a new way to calm and center myself. Yeah. And I remember before I went home during that 5 weeks, I was at my friend's house, same one that gave me the gratitude journal. And I was sitting outside and I was just taking a moment of meditating. And I was in her garden and I could hear the birds and I could smell the green.
Yeah.
And I was just at peace. She was inside and she snapped a picture of me.
Oh.
And she sent it to me and says, "This is a woman who is at peace.
This is what we're looking for."
And so it was that that was probably the first glimmer that I could find peace was probably that picture. And it was just a moment that was really a moment of gratitude.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just appreciating.
But I have to imagine that some emotion came out when you saw that picture too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it would. I'm like, I can see you there, knowing how you probably felt. My empathy, being in a similar, self-disconnected space for all the reasons I created that, and wondering, am I going to get through this? Yeah. But same, being very determined, I am going to do it, intention and focus. But it's still hard to hold the hope because the days are still hard. And there's so much learning. You've talked already about so many things that you were, and the layers of what you're doing when you're trying to, I love that you said that. It was 12 to 18 months before you got the sleep regulation down and you're still working on that. So recognizing that as something that needs to be done in terms of your emotional healing is powerful. It's amazing. But that all of that work, especially in the beginning, I found it just to be, there's a lot of energy that we're expending on it. And it's funny because you're expending more energy to start pulling back energy, but you're still giving it out, right? Because you're now working so hard on yourself. You have such a long way to go. I just have to imagine that being in that place, feeling that way, seeing that picture was just that like spark of hope. Like there's me doing it. I can get there.
You know what I remember feeling was actually pride. Which is weird because I was taught to be humble and to not. These were some of the stories that were being
your narratives that somebody gave you in your head that you adopted.
These are the things that I'm
It's not
unlearning.
Okay to be prideful,
putting
or proud
together.
Of yourself,
And so I saw that picture and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like evidence of the work that was being done.
Yes.
And I felt really proud of myself.
Yes. I'm so glad to hear you say that. It's amazing.
And I don't think I've ever described that moment like that yet.
Prideful.
Like, I was really proud of myself for the work that I was already doing.
Yeah.
I really was.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
So
cool. My gosh, you're going to make me cry, Beth.
No, well, I almost cried. So I cried when I saw that picture of you sitting
and there's
there,
nothing wrong with crying, remember?
Nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong with it.
I always
very healthy.
Now I say tears mean it matters.
Yes. Yeah.
Tears mean it matters.
Tears mean it matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also emotional letting.
It is.
Which is good for us.
It is.
Right? To get them out. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Did you know, okay, can I just say a random fact about tears?
Sure.
Did you know that the chemical composition of your tear, I have nerdy facts. The chemical composition of your tears changes depending on why you're crying. So if you looked at a tear under a microscope that came from pain, it's going to look different than one that comes from grief, than one that comes from joy, than one that comes from exhaustion. And so it is literally a release for your body from what it's experiencing.
I did not know that, but I'm guessing whatever the predominant chemicals are at the time are the ones
that's what's coming out. And
interesting.
It's an actual physical release for your body.
I love that fact. That's an important fact to know.
It is, especially when I was told to shove my tears for so long. No, they all need to come out.
They all matter.
They have a purpose and they matter.
Yeah, they do.
They really do.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Just,
thanks. That's my nerd nook for this.
I love it. Nerd nooks, by the way, are in the book. You'll see them all over the book.
Yes.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Sela, when did you get introduced to that?
In college. I think I was around 19 or 20. I was in a Christian college and I was just learning all about, we're looking at scripture in a different way, in a new way, and that kind of stuff. And there's Sela it's in the Psalms primarily. It has a couple other places, but it's mostly in the Psalms. And it was that weird word that when you're reading the poetry, you're like, okay, stanza, da, 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 and then there's this word off to the side of the margin. It says Sela or Selah, some people pronounce it. I'm like, we don't know what that means. That's a word in a different language, number one. So I have no context for what that is. And so our professor explained that it's likely a little directive, but it really was primary, a pause.
Yeah.
So it was either like a direction for if it was something being performed or sung, for the musicians to take a pause, or for the singers to take a pause, or that kind of stuff. Then as I continued to dig into the word, I learned it's a pause for your reflection so that you can receive with gratitude the wisdom or the message that you've just been given.
Yeah. Which is beautiful.
So it's a quick pause.
Yeah.
But I've expanded on it in my own life.
As we do. We have our own experiences of what it means to us.
It's amazing, though, the power of a word.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, mine's heal.
Yours is heal. Mine is
Power
Sila.
of a word.
The power of a word.
It is amazing. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, everybody says, what's your word of the year? I'm like, I got a word of a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
As do you.
Yeah. From now on, ever since my ground zero.
Yeah.
You ask me my word.
Yeah.
It will be Sila.
So you had the really intentional, focused and intentional part of your healing journey, all kind of different modalities. I know you spent time in therapy, which I'm a huge advocate for that. Right. And obviously you love nature and the meditation, spirituality, and dealing with the physical, because you're definitely not in the obese category now. So I'm doing lots of
maybe
work
barely.
I've
been doing lots of work on that for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm feeling amazing.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really amazing.
Dealing with all of that. So how long would you say was that? I mean, you already alluded to 12 to 18 months on the sleep pattern side, but what I think of is like the really intentional, like I got work to do and I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I got to find me. How long was that?
I think, my Sila journey started when I first ran away. It was in July of 2021. By October of 2022, I think I had done a lot of the work to at least get me back on the path, understanding who I was becoming and starting to put things into my life so that I could continue to intentionally walk towards those things.
Yeah. So
it was really, I would say those 12 to 15 months was so messy. So messy.
Yeah, they are.
Because as I was recognizing what was going on with me and all the different people I have relationships with, that automatically changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of redefining. There's a lot of, so when we talked about who I was before, I think of a duck. I probably looked really calm, cool, and collected on the surface of the water. Nobody saw those darn little feet, like just struggling. It was, imagine the duck, but with all of the feathers actually soaked in water.
Yeah.
Still struggling to stay on top of the water. But yeah, I don't think people ever would have, I know people didn't understand what I was experiencing and going through because I was so good at being who somebody else needed.
Yeah.
And so undoing that and reframing those relationships, first with me and God, and then with family and friends.
Yeah.
Really 12 to 15 months. And we had to ask some really hard questions during that time.
Yeah.
Especially me and my husband.
Yeah.
I won't go into it a lot, but we almost split up.
But you made it
through.
But
we found our way back to each other.
Yeah, which I think is amazing. And that is that's a big part of where our stories are different. And I put my hand way down. Because for me, my marriage was a casualty of my healing process. And that has a lot to do with the other person.
But you know what? I think that's exactly right. What we have in common is we hit that spot and we knew something needed to change.
Yeah.
And it was really, from what I know of your story and what I know of my story, it was the responses of our partners at that point.
Yes, 100%.
That determined that trajectory.
Yes, that's 100% true.
So again, our situation is very parallel.
Yeah.
We were now no longer going to put up with what we had
allowed.
allowed.
You're right about that. You're 100% correct about that.
But there's two people in any friendship or relationship.
Yes, that's right.
And that person also has opinions and thoughts and their own things. And so that has to come into the equation.
Yes. Yeah. And it was a difference of response. So,
yeah.
Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I got my freedom. So that was a huge part of me getting my freedom.
So did I.
Which was you kept your partner.
In a different way.
Yes.
In a different way.
But it's also, my journey, because you worked through all of that and it's successful with all of your family, maintaining those relationships, and I'm assuming most of your friends and all of that, mostly everybody is still there and intact. And I had to go pull a lot of people back in. And that the work that I had to do around relationships, including dealing with my ex-husband, and then stuff that I still am dealing with my my immediate birth family, my parents, my sister. All of that is part of my ongoing journey, my exploration of love, like understanding what that word actually means across a variety of different relationships. So it's interesting because while our paths have been, our mission now is the same but different. We're both about healing. But I'm still in this world where God's saying, you have to explore this because you need to have, your laboratory is still opened for your life experiences around the notion of love. So it's natural that I would have different experiences there because of what my life path is, what I'm supposed to be doing. All right.
I will say, though, there are still some relationships that we're working through.
Okay.
And that, I think, is part of the beautiful part of it, right? Every relationship is unique and individual and has its own life. And so oh my goodness, my poor Stila tribe that caught me in those first 5 weeks, you can go ask them. They would hold me account if I didn't say this. They were scared for me. They had never seen me like that. They were like, what is she doing?
They were seeing the feet suddenly.
Is she going to be okay? They saw me really spinning and spiraling, and they were
becoming Camp Wilderness Girl.
I mean, literally,
Camp Wilderness Girl, and yes, there's a fire over there, and I'm just going to sit here until it smokes me out. Until it smokes. I imagine most people would be like, are you okay?
I had friends that had really never even connected very much, like texting each other. Do you have Cami? What was she doing? Are she okay? Do you need me to tag in? I didn't realize all that was going on in the background, but that was what was happening for sure. I know. Right. So there are still some relationships. So there is a little bit, but in general, I'm really grateful for the way most people have responded. Always.
It's amazing. Always. I'm also grateful because my life path was literally rejecting people, pushing them out of my life for years. And even though I couldn't see the me and who I am, had repressed myself so much and disconnected from myself, they had experienced me and had a lot of deep love for me. And so most of them saying that it's been just beautiful going back and reclaiming them, pulling them into my life. They're like, oh, you're back, thank you, finally, it's so great. So amazing. Most of them. There are some relationships that I damaged that I talked about this recently. I've had the opportunity to make amends on one of them, and I don't know what'll ever happen of that, but I'm still working on some of them. As we have to do.
Which is important. It's always an ongoing process.
It is.
And we've already talked about that a bit. It's always an ongoing process.
And for me,
it's always healing.
Always healing. Absolutely. And a lot of that for me is still learning about what it means to show up in love when you're the one that has some work to do to show up.
For sure.
All right, so let's talk about where you are now. So the book has come out.
Yes.
And you are in that place that I was after my book came out, trying to figure out, I know there's a mission. I know I'm here to help people to heal. I know I'm here to shed light in this world. But walking our path and
how do we do that?
We were talking about this earlier today. I literally wake up every day and make it up.
Yes.
So what are you doing? What are you doing? And through that, tell people where they can find you, how they can connect with you.
3 years ago yesterday, we started the Sela journey as a business. And so it's me and my brother. My brother has been just a huge encourager and support for me behind the scenes. And so what I get to do, because again, my life in the past before breakdown was all about taking care of people, and my love and care for people hasn't changed. It's just become healthier. I have the boundaries and I have a more solid foundation that's more grounded in truth. And what I have done in 2022, the first things I did, I got my life coaching certification. I know there's a lot of us out there. I'm really good. I got my life coaching certification because I'm a person from the heart. This through Mana Academy, and I also got my intuitive life coaching certification, and I got certified as an intuition teacher.
Okay.
So my favorite thing to do is to mentor and coach people one-on-one. There's another assessment, Strength Finders, that I used to use when I was working in the college. And my number one strength is adaptability, but up there is also developer, which means I can see potential in people, and I am uniquely gifted to be able to help bring that potential out and help them walk that path.
Yeah.
And so actions as a mentor and a coach have somehow always been a part of my story. And so now I get to do that with just so much more confidence and freedom. So we have the Sela journey. We have a website that's just starting. We have a community that we're building off of social media. And so we have a book club going on in there right now, just to get our feet wet and explore a little deeper. Yeah. And I have coaching clients, and I'm starting to build some other things, some like workshops and courses, because I'm a nerd. I can talk about this stuff, explore it,
me too.
Discuss all of
your
this
life
forever.
It's your life.
Forever.
Yeah, it's why you're here.
And it still gives me, my self-worth and values no longer hinges on this, but it still gives me great joy to see people get that solid foundation under them, like I did.
Yeah.
And really like start to tap into their own greatness.
Yes.
And just
so much joy in that.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
there's nothing better.
I love it too. When you start to see
nothing better.
People finding their way from where they were to where they're going, and you can see it.
Yeah.
So much, there's a lot of joy that comes from that.
I was just reflecting on this today. I had someone come, it was a friend. She's been on a parallel path. So she's not in my circles, but she's been on a parallel path. And as we were comparing notes and reconnecting, she looked at me and said, "You know what happened to me in my journey?" I said, "What?" She goes, "I learned I loved myself. And I'm really great with that."
I love that. That's what I learned. I love myself.
And that's what I learned.
And ultimately, that's what we do need to learn when we're healing. That's the first thing that we have to really learn, self-love.
And so she really summed up for me, I love watching people learn to fall in love with themselves.
Yes. I love that. That's great. So great.
That's what, that's what we get to do. That's
we do.
Healing,
it's amazing.
Right?
Yeah,
so I do that through Sela. Like, I neglected self-care for so long, and it led me to break.
Yeah.
And so there's part of this is, don't do what I did.
Yeah.
So I'm a champion for self-care.
Yeah.
And I'm a champion for people so that they can understand and see their own worth and start to build from there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
I appreciate it so much.
Oh my gosh, this has been so fun.
It's fun. I love doing these. I enjoy them very much. So we will link to the show notes where everybody can find you.
Yes.
And of course, this again is the book, The Sela Journey, which is available on Amazon. So please support Cami and get your copy. One thing that we did not mention is that there's a portion of the proceeds from the book purchase that she donates to 2 charities that she's very passionate about. That's probably subject for another show.
Absolutely.
We can talk about all that. A lot of stuff we didn't get to.
I know.
But please support my good friend. She's had an amazing journey, and this is an absolutely beautiful book. And so if you are that person who is the duck floating on water, but your feet are moving like crazy underwater, please don't reach that point where you're empty. Please. Cami's book can help you.
Please.
All right, everyone. As I always tell you, please keep healing. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of Let's Heal with Beth Jones. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Beth Jones Healing Mentor. And if you'd like to know more about me and my work to help other survivors to heal, please visit me on the web at empoweredsurvivors.com.